What if your entire destiny changed because of the magic hidden in the trees? The Lament of Aetheria is a breathtaking fantasy filled with adventure, ancient secrets, and the bonds of friendship that can withstand the darkest shadows. Join Kaelan, a passionate warrior, on a quest to reclaim the forgotten legacy of Aetheria, where every choice could determine the fate of his world. As he and his unlikely allies journey through breathtaking landscapes to confront formidable foes, they realize that their strength lies not just in individual powers, but in their unity. If they fail, darkness will consume them all. If they succeed, they might uncover a magic that changes everything. Get ready to embark on this epic adventure. This is Chapter 1 of the Lament of Aetheria. Let the journey begin.
Chapter 1. The Lament of Aetheria. Kaelan sat at his weaving loom, threads cascading around him like a vibrant waterfall of colors. The rhythmic clacking of the shuttle echoed softly within the cozy confines of his workshop, filled with the warm scent of freshly dyed fabrics. Each tapestry he crafted told a story of love, loss, and the history of his village, revealing the depths of his artistry and passion. Sunlight streamed through the small window, illuminating the intricate patterns dancing on the loom. Today was different. Today was the day of the village festival, a celebration of heritage and community spirit. Excitement buzzed through the air as neighbors prepared food and decorations, their laughter filtering into his workshop like a gentle breeze. Kaelan's hands moved with precision and purpose, weaving in and out with the threads, creating vivid scenes of heroes and lovers intertwined in timeless tales. Yet, somewhere in the corners of his mind, a longing stirred. Each stroke of the shuttle brought forth vibrant imagery, but beneath the surface lay the desire for adventure, for the stories that existed beyond the village walls. Stories yet to be woven. He paused for a moment to admire his work, a tapestry depicting the legendary love story of two star-crossed lovers from Aetheria. The design shimmered, hinting at a magic that Kaelan had yet to understand fully. As he added the final touches, the door creaked open, and Leora stepped inside, her cheerful spirit illuminating the workshop. "Kaelan, you're going to miss the festival if you don't hurry," she teased, a playful glimmer in her eyes. He smiled back, momentarily torn between the joy of celebration and the allure of the unknown. He took in the bustling sounds of the village, feeling the weight of his decision looming over him. In that moment, he understood that today would shape not just the tales of Aetheria, but also the very fabric of his own life. As the laughter outside grew louder, Kaelan pondered what awaited him beyond the familiar threads of his craft. The village square was alive with bright colors and joyous chatter. Kaelan stepped outside his workshop, the warmth of the sun enveloping him like a comforting embrace. Banners adorned the stalls, each fluttering in the gentle breeze, and the enticing aroma of freshly baked bread and spiced meats wafted through the air. Children ran around playing games, their laughter ringing like music, while merchants called to passers-by, showcasing their vibrant wares. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement, a tapestry of community spirit that Kaelan had always cherished. Yet as he made his way through the throngs of villagers, a sense of restlessness stirred within him. He glanced at the various stalls, each one representing a piece of their shared history and tradition. Pottery, woven baskets, and colorful textiles captured his interest, but it was the tales shared by the villagers that ignited his imagination. "Kaelan, come join us!" Leora's voice sliced through the crowd, her vibrant energy drawing him closer. With a grin, he moved toward her, weaving through the masses. She stood under a large, colorful canopy, animatedly discussing the festival's events with a group of villagers. Her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, and Kaelan felt a sense of belonging wash over him. "Did you finish your tapestry?" she asked, glancing at the intricate weaving on display near his booth. "Almost," he replied, the pride in his voice palpable. "Good. We need your stories at the festival. Every tale we share brings us closer together," she said, her conviction unwavering. Kaelan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. Stories. It was what drove him, yet he couldn't shake the feeling that beyond these familiar faces and tales, adventure awaited. As laughter and music filled the air, he realized today was not just a celebration of the past. It was also a reminder of the unexplored paths ahead, calling to him like the threads in his loom. As the festival buzzed around them, Kaelan felt the weight of Leora's gaze upon him, inviting him to share his hopes and dreams. He took a moment to appreciate the vibrant tapestry of life enveloping him, the laughter of children, the melodic calls of merchants, the enticing scents wafting through the air. But beneath the surface, a yearning simmered. He glanced back at the path leading out of the village, a familiar sight that now felt like a tether holding him back. "What if?" he began, hesitating as he reveled in the thought of adventure. "What if what?" Leora prodded, curiosity dancing in her eyes. "What if there's more out there, beyond the boundaries of our stories?" Kaelan felt a flicker of vulnerability, unsure of how to voice the swirling thoughts within him. Leora's expression softened, understanding the depth of his longing. "You mean the stories of Aetheria? The ones we'd only heard from the elders?" He nodded slowly. "I wonder what it's like out there, to see it for myself." "Go explore, discover," Leora exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. "You have the talent to weave your own stories. This festival is a chance to share them. But it's also a reminder that we're part of a larger tale." Kaelan caught her sincerity, feeling the surge of inspiration mixed with apprehension. "But what if I'm not ready? What if I fail?" "Every great story has its trials," Leora said firmly, "and every journey begins with a single step. You won't be alone in this. I'll be right here, supporting you." Her words pierced through his cloud of doubt, weaving themselves into his heart like the threads he worked with each day. Kaelan realized that this festival was more than a celebration. It was the very essence of their community, and a call to action. With a renewed sense of purpose, he smiled at Leora. "You're right, perhaps it's time to share more than just our past." Kaelan's gaze drifted toward the horizon, where the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue over the village. The vibrant colors of the festival began to blend into the shadows, and the sounds of revelry took on an echoing familiarity. He took a deep breath, inhaling the scents of roasted meats and sweet pastries, grounding himself in the moment. Suddenly, a distant voice broke through his thoughts, a story being recounted by one of the village elders on a nearby stage. The crowd had gathered, completely enchanted by the old tale of Aetheria's legendary heroes. Kaelan felt a familiar tug at his heart, a reminder of the rich history that shaped their lives. The elder spoke of courage in the face of adversity, stories that ignited the imaginations of all who listened. Tales that intertwined love and loss, reminding everyone present of their shared heritage. Kaelan listened intently, each word sparking a mixture of nostalgia and a restless desire for exploration. As the elder continued, Kaelan's thoughts turned inward. Here life was simple, yet he felt an insatiable longing for something more elusive. He glanced over at Leora, whose eyes sparkled with joy as she engaged with the other villagers, laughing and sharing stories. In that moment, Kaelan understood the trajectory of their lives ahead depended not just on the past, but on the courage to venture beyond familiar boundaries. He imagined the stories he could one day tell, woven from real experiences rather than just fabric. With determination igniting within him, he made a silent promise that he wouldn't let fear bind him. The words of the elder floated into the air, melding with the laughter and music, coaxing him forward, whispering of the possibilities that awaited those willing to step beyond the known. Today was not just a celebration, it was a turning point. a call to adventure that he could no longer ignore. The evening air hummed with laughter and music, the village square alive with celebration. Kaelan stood at the edge of the festivities, his heart racing as he grappled with the weight of his thoughts. The stories shared among the villagers were vibrant, rich with history, stories he had grown up hearing, yet they now felt like distant echoes of a life he yearned to deepen. As he observed the community bond around him, a sudden pang of restlessness took root. He felt a desire to weave his own narrative into the tapestry of their history, leaving behind more than just threads and fabric. There was an urgency to his longing, a need to create something real, something that spoke not only to his heart, but to the hearts of others. Leora's laughter broke through his introspection, and he turned to see her animatedly recounting tales of their latest adventure. She gestured wildly, her excitement palpable, drawing in a small crowd that hung on to her every word. Kaelan couldn't help but smile. Her spirit was infectious. Yet as he watched her thrive in the spotlight, he felt a flicker of doubt creeping in. Would he ever be able to share a story of his own that would captivate others in the same way? But the flicker quickly faded, replaced by a resolve that surged through him. He realized the festival was not just a celebration of the past, it was also a moment to embrace new beginnings. The thought ignited something within him, a promise that he would no longer allow fear to govern his actions. He took a deep breath, the vibrant energy of the festival wrapping around him like a warm embrace. This was the moment he had been waiting for, the chance to step forward and reclaim his narrative. Today he would weave his own thread into the collective tapestry, beginning the journey that would lead him beyond the borders of their village and into the heart of Aetheria. With determination coursing through him, Kaelan stepped into the center of the festivities, heart pounding in rhythm with the lively music. The villagers were caught up in joyous conversations. Friends and families gathered together, sharing laughter and stories that filled the air with warmth. He took a moment to observe, realizing this vibrant tapestry of community was something he wanted to be a part of on a deeper level. Kaelan raised his voice, calling for attention. The excitement of the festival momentarily hushed as curious eyes turned toward him. "Everyone," he said, his voice steady despite the anxiety fluttering in his chest. "I have something to share with you all." The crowd leaned in, intrigued, encouraging him to continue. Kaelan felt the weight of their expectations but stayed resolute, drawing strength from the very fabric of the village that had shaped him. "I want to be part of the stories we share, not just the ones woven into our caste," he declared, his gaze sweeping over the faces he knew so well. "I wish to explore beyond these borders and discover the world beyond Aetheria." Gasps and whispers rippled through the crowd, surprised reactions mingling with curiosity. Some faces were skeptical, while others lit up with excitement at the prospect of adventure. Leora stepped forward, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. "You've always had stories to tell, Kaelan. This is just the beginning." The energy shifted, and Kaelan felt a wave of relief and determination washing over him. He wasn't just making a statement. He was opening a door to new adventures and dreams that stretched far beyond the familiar streets of his home. As the music resumed and the laughter rose again, Kaelan felt a bond weaving between him and his community, deeper now than ever. Each note of the celebration sang of promise, a chorus that echoed in his heart, urging him forward toward the journey that awaited. Today marked the turning point. Today, his story would begin anew. Chapter 2. The Call for Allies. The sun rose high over the village, casting a golden light across the fields as Kaelan set out for the first leg of his journey. The excitement of embarking on the unknown coursed through him, mingling with the flutter of apprehension in his stomach. After the festival, he had packed his belongings with care, ensuring that he had the essentials: food supplies, his trusty weaving tools, and the crystal that now felt like a part of him. He could hear the distant sounds of the village stirring awake, but today he would not be a part of it. Kaelan walked with purpose, his heart beating in rhythm with the songs of the waking world. The path stretched out before him, bordered by vibrant wildflowers and towering trees, each step forward taking him further from the familiar and deeper into the realm of possibility. As he approached the forest's edge, the air thickened with the scent of pine and earth. Kaelan paused to take it all in, the overwhelming beauty and the whisper of adventure calling him forth. He felt the tension of uncertainty, but beneath it lay a pulsating thrill, a sense of purpose that propelled him into this new chapter of his life. He glanced back one last time at the village, a mix of nostalgia and resolve washing over him. "I will uncover the truth of Aetheria," he whispered to himself, and with that he stepped into the shaded canopy. The sunlight filtering through the leaves above, heralding the promise of new beginnings. As Kaelan ventured deeper into the forest, he became acutely aware of the vibrant symphony of nature surrounding him. Birds flitted from branch to branch, their melodies weaving through the trees as if cheering him on. The soft crunch of leaves underfoot echoed his heartbeat, each step resonating with purpose and anticipation. He paused occasionally to observe the flora, noting the different plants and flowers that flourished in the dappled sunlight. A keen curiosity ignited within him. Could any of these plants hold the key to Aetheria's mysteries? He jotted down notes in his journal, sketching their features, capturing the colors and shapes that danced before his eyes. As Kaelan navigated the winding paths, he began to realize that the journey was not just about reaching Aetheria, but about discovering himself in the process. Every rustling leaf and fragrant bloom seemed to whisper secrets to him, urging him to keep exploring, to keep seeking. After some time, he came across a small clearing where the sun bathed the ground in warm light. At its center stood an ancient stone pedestal, its surface etched with faded markings. Drawn to it, Kaelan approached cautiously, feeling a sense of reverence. The markings seemed familiar, echoing the stories he had seen woven into his tapestries. Kneeling beside the pedestal, he brushed away the layers of dirt, revealing more of the carvings. They depicted scenes of warriors and magical creatures, entwined in a battle that felt both distant and achingly relevant. Kaelan's heart raced as he pieced together the connections between the past and the journey he was embarking on. In this moment, searching the stone for answers, Kaelan felt the thrill of discovery ripple through him. He understood that each fragment of knowledge he uncovered would contribute to the larger tapestry of his adventure, weaving together the threads of the world he yearned to explore. As Kaelan studied the pedestal, a rustling in the underbrush caught his attention. He turned sharply to see a figure emerging from the trees, an elven scout, tall and poised, with a presence that seemed to command the very light around her. "Who goes there?" the elf called, her voice melodic yet firm, eyes narrowing as she assessed Kaelan's presence in her territory. Kaelan felt a mix of excitement and anxiety at encountering someone from Aetheria, unsure of how she would react to a wandering villager. Gathering his courage, he stepped forward, holding up his hand slightly in a gesture of peace. "I'm Kaelan, a weaver from the nearby village. I'm searching for knowledge about Aetheria," he explained, trying to sound confident despite the rapidly increasing pulse in his chest. The elf studied him for a moment, her gaze piercing yet assessing. "Knowledge comes at a cost," she said, her tone shifting from suspicion to intrigue. "What do you seek in these lands?" Kaelan hesitated, weighing his words carefully. "I want to uncover the stories of Aetheria and understand its magic. I believe it holds the key to connecting my village with its past," he replied, hoping to resonate with her curiosity. The elf's posture relaxed slightly, but skepticism lingered in her eyes. "Many come seeking Aetheria's power, but few understand the responsibility that comes with it. You must prove your intentions are sincere," she stated. A challenge hung in the air. Kaelan felt the pressure of her scrutiny, and knew he needed to demonstrate his commitment. "I'm willing to learn. I want to honor the legacy of Aetheria," he asserted, determining not to back down. The elf considered him for what felt like an eternity, before nodding slowly. Very well. If you are to navigate Aetheria's depths, you must first understand its dangers. Follow me, and I will show you the way. Relief washed over Kaelan as he felt a flicker of hope ignite. He followed the elf, ready to face whatever new challenges lay ahead, fueled by the thrill of discovery and a deeper sense of purpose. The elven scout led Kaelan through the dense forest, her movements fluid and graceful. He struggled to keep pace, marveling at her ability to maneuver effortlessly through the thick underbrush. As they walked, she pointed out various flora and fauna, explaining how each was intertwined with Aetheria's magic. "These woods hold many secrets," she said, her voice softening as she gestured at a cluster of luminescent flowers. "Observe how they respond to the energy of the land." Kaelan listened intently, absorbing her knowledge, and felt his excitement build. The forest was alive with possibilities, and he understood that each lesson learned would bring him closer to the answers he sought. Suddenly, the elf stopped, placing a hand on Kaelan's arm to signal him to remain quiet. They stood still, listening as the sounds of the forest shifted. A low growl echoed through the trees, accompanied by rustling leaves. The tension in the air thickened, and Kaelan's heart raced. "What is it?" he whispered, scanning the surroundings. "A predator stalks nearby," she whispered back. "Stay close. If we are careful, we can avoid detection." Kaelan nodded, adrenaline coursing through him as he followed her lead, aware of the danger just out of sight. He felt the weight of the moment, not only for his safety, but for the trust being built between him and this skilled scout. As they resumed their path, Kaelan's eyes widened at the shimmering light ahead, leading into a clearing. The moment they stepped into the open air, the source of the glow became clear. An ancient stone archway adorned with vines and glowing runes, pulsing softly. "This is one of Aetheria's portals," the elf explained, her voice filled with reverence. "It reflects the balance of energy in the land. Few know how to harness its power." Kaelan felt the weight of the moment, realizing the significance of his presence here. Each detail, each whisper of magic surrounding the archway, fueled his passion to learn. He understood now that his journey was not just about discovering Aetheria, but also about forming bonds with those who understood its depths. Determination surged within him. "Teach me," he said, his voice steady, filled with resolve. "I want to protect this land and its magic." The elf regarded him thoughtfully, and for the first time, he saw a flicker of approval in her eyes. With the portal looming before him, Kaelan felt a rush of energy dance in the air. The ancient stone archway seemed to pulse in response to his presence, the glowing runes whispering secrets just out of reach. The elven scout studied him for a moment, her expression thoughtful. "To harness the power of the portal, you must connect with it. Focus your energy on the runes. Let the essence of Aetheria flow through you," she instructed, her voice steady and calm. Kaelan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He stepped closer to the archway, his heart racing as he placed his palm against the cool stone, taking a deep breath to steady himself. The energy thrumming beneath his fingers felt alive, inviting and daunting all at once. He closed his eyes, recalling the lessons he learned from Arian, envisioning the breathing techniques that would help him harness this moment. The world around him faded as he centered his thoughts, forcing out the noise of uncertainty, channeling his focus into the runes. As he concentrated, he felt a warm light surging through the stone, illuminating his mind with images of Aetheria's past, heroes, battles, and above all, the connections that held everything together. Kaelan opened his eyes, emboldened by the visions. "Now release that energy," the elf urged, her presence unwavering beside him. With a firm exhale, Kaelan directed his energy toward the runes, watching in awe as they began to glow brighter. The air around them shimmered, filled with palpable magic that tingled against his skin. He felt a connection growing stronger, a spark of understanding igniting within him. "Good," she praised, her tone filled with approval as she watched the energy channel through the archway. "But remember, the magic of Aetheria requires balance. Trust in what you've learned." Just then, a sudden burst of energy erupted, and Kaelan stumbled as the portal pulsed violently before responding to his focus. The ancient structure trembled, and he felt a rush of wind pushing against him, challenging his control. For a brief moment, doubt flickered in his mind as uncertainty washed over him, but he quickly redirected his focus, recalling the lessons from his journey. He steadied his breath, reaffirming his connection and channeling the chaos into a harmonious flow. With a final surge of will, the portal glowed brighter than ever before, revealing a swirling vortex of colors. Kaelan stood triumphantly as the power enveloped him, his heart racing with exhilaration and purpose. He turned to the elven scout, who now looked at him with newfound respect. "You have much to learn, but your journey has only just begun," she stated, her voice rich with promise. Kaelan's heart swelled with determination. He was ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that this moment would be a defining milestone on his path to discovering Aetheria. The swirling colors within the portal danced like a mesmerizing storm, vibrant and alive, drawing Kaelan closer. He could feel an irresistible pull toward the heart of Aetheria, a place filled with the whispers of ancient magic and long-lost stories. Beside him, the elven scout maintained her steady presence, watching him with keen eyes. "Accessing the portal is only the beginning. What you uncover within Aetheria will test your courage and resolve," she cautioned, her tone firm but encouraging. Kaelan nodded, the enormity of her words sinking in. He could sense that the path ahead was fraught with unpredictability, but his excitement outweighed his trepidation. This was the opportunity he had longed for, the chance to weave his own tale into the rich history of Aetheria. Taking a deep breath, he took a confident step toward the portal, feeling the energy flowing around him. "I'm ready," he declared, his voice steady despite the apprehension bubbling in his chest. With that, he leaped forward, crossing the threshold into the swirling magic. A rush of wind enveloped him, and the world around him erupted into brilliant light. The rush disoriented him momentarily, but he quickly focused his thoughts, reminding himself of the lessons learned during his journey. As the vibrant colors faded, he found himself in a vast, lush landscape, unlike anything he had ever seen. Towering trees with shimmering leaves surrounded him, and the air was thick with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Suddenly, the realization hit him. He wasn't alone. The rustling of leaves and distant whispers indicated that Aetheria was alive, filled with creatures and beings that had once walked the stories of his ancestors. Taking a moment to compose himself, Kaelan looked around, heart racing with a mix of awe and excitement. This new world was his to explore. And his commitment to uncover its secrets solidified within him. Just then, he spotted a group of ethereal figures approaching, their forms glowing softly in the dappled sunlight. Kaelan's determination surged as he prepared to engage with them, eager to learn, share, and connect. The adventure he had been yearning for had just begun, and Kaelan was ready to write his own story in Aetheria, one thread at a time. Chapter 3. The Trial of Courage. Kaelan stood in the heart of Aetheria, surrounded by a breathtaking landscape that felt almost like a dream. The colors were more vibrant than he had ever imagined. The leaves shimmered in shades of emerald and gold, while flowers burst with hues so rich they seemed to sing in the daylight. The air was filled with a symphony of sounds, the gentle rustling of the leaves above, the melodious calls of unseen birds, and the soft murmurs of nearby streams weaving through the vibrant greenery. With each breath, he felt the magic of the realm wrap around him like a warm embrace, igniting a sense of wonder that filled him with exhilaration. However, underlying the beauty was a feeling of uncertainty. What lay ahead was unknown, and Kaelan knew that every adventure came with its challenges. He took a moment to absorb the surroundings, acknowledging that the grandeur of the landscape was only part of his journey. The true test awaited as he moved deeper into Aetheria. Resolute, he stepped forward, allowing his curiosity to guide him. He followed a winding path lined with radiant flowers, each petal softly glowing as if welcoming him. The path seemed to glow faintly under his footsteps, urging him onward. As he ventured further, Kaelan felt the presence of others nearby, creatures shifting just out of sight. He remained alert, acknowledging the lessons he had learned about the unpredictable nature of Aetheria. Every shadow cast by the towering trees hinted at a story yet to be told. Soon he reached a clearing where the light broke through the canopy above, revealing a large stone altar adorned with intricate carvings. Drawn to it, he stepped closer, noticing the symbols resembled those from the ruins he had seen back in the village. Kaelan ran his fingers over the cool stone, feeling the energy of the place flow through him. It was as if the past was whispering its secrets, inviting him to uncover the connections between their history and the present he was now living. He resolved to delve deeper into the mysteries of Aetheria, driven by the desire to learn, lead, and weave a story that would unite his village with the magical realm. With newfound clarity, Kaelan took a deep breath and prepared himself for whatever lay ahead. Determined to embrace the journey fully, as Kaelan studied the altar, he sensed a powerful presence emanating from it, compelling him to explore further. He glanced around the clearing, his heart racing with anticipation. This was not just a resting point. It felt sacred, a hub of energy that linked the past to the present. Determined to uncover the significance of the altar, Kaelan began to trace the carvings with his fingertips. The intricate patterns depicted scenes of warriors from long ago, intertwined with ethereal beings that brought light and magic to the world. The stories came alive in his mind as he recalled the tales shared by the village elders, stories of bravery, sacrifice, and unity. Each carving felt like a piece of the puzzle he desperately wanted to solve. He pulled out his journal, jotting down notes about the symbols, drawing quick sketches to capture their essence. The elders had often said that understanding these connections was vital to tapping into Aetheria's potential. As Kaelan worked, he felt a sense of urgency pressed upon him, a pressing need to dig deeper. The more he studied, the more he realized the knowledge sought was not just about artifacts or lost histories. It was about the emotional woven into the fabric of Aetheria and its people. Just then, he heard footsteps behind him, a familiar sound that drew his attention away from the altar. Leora emerged from the underbrush, her eyes wide with wonder as she took in the sight before her. "What did you find?" she asked, her voice eager and curious. "I think this altar is a key to understanding Aetheria's past," he replied, excitement spilling into his tone. "These carvings, they tell stories of a connection that our village has long forgotten." Leora stepped closer, peering at the intricate designs. "It's incredible. We need to show this to everyone back home. They must see it for themselves. This could change everything." Kaelan hesitated, torn between the urgency of their discoveries and the responsibility to honor the knowledge of the past. "Yes, but we need to understand it fully first. We must be careful how we present this." Leora nodded, sensing his resolve. "You're right. Let's figure it out together. We can make sense of it, and then we'll take it back to them." Kaelan smiled, feeling a surge of confidence in her support. As they worked side by side, he knew this partnership would be pivotal as they delved deeper into the mysteries of Aetheria, shaping their path forward as both explorers and storytellers. As Kaelan and Leora continued to examine the altar, a sense of urgency echoed in their actions. They took turns sketching the symbols, their eyes darting between the carvings and the notes in their journals. Kaelan felt a strange mix of determination and apprehension. Every detail they documented felt vital to the journey ahead. He suddenly recalled the tales of Aetheria's power, but was equally aware of the risks that came with uncovering such knowledge. "Do you think this place still holds magic?" Leora asked, her gaze fixed on a particularly intricate motif depicting a swirling vortex above a mountain range. "I believe so," Kaelan responded, his voice thoughtful. "But we have to be cautious. The legends warn of misuse and the consequences of awakening forces we don't fully understand." Leora nodded, her brows furrowing as she considered his words. What if we were to inadvertently draw the attention of those who wish to control this power? The question hung between them, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in Aetheria. Kaelan took a deep breath, recognizing the importance of their mission, but also the uneven ground they stood on. Just then, a soft glow began to emanate from the altar, vibrant and pulsing. Grabbing their attention, the carving seemed to shimmer, and intricate patterns began to shift before their eyes, as if responding to their presence. Leora's eyes widened in awe. "Kaelan, look." Kaelan stepped closer, heart racing. The shift in the pattern seemed to form an image of warriors standing united, a visual memory of strength in the face of adversity. He reached out to touch the surface of the altar again, feeling the warmth radiating from beneath his fingers. Without warning, a low rumble echoed through the clearing, shaking the ground beneath them. They exchanged panicked glances, realizing that perhaps their exploration had awakened something dormant. "Maybe we've pushed it too far?" Leora whispered, her voice tinged with fear. Kaelan felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, understanding that they had uncovered something significant yet dangerous. "We should step back, see if we can reverse whatever we've stirred," he said, his voice steady. As they moved away, Kaelan felt a surge of determination. He understood now that uncovering the truth of Aetheria came with risks they could not ignore. This experience was shaping him not just as an explorer, but as a leader who must navigate the balance between curiosity and caution. They would need to confront whatever challenges arose from this moment and learn how to adapt moving forward. As Kaelan and Leora stepped back, the vibrations from the altar intensified, causing the very ground beneath them to tremble. The air grew thick with energy, crackling with potential, and Kaelan's instincts kicked in. "Let's move further back," he urged, guiding Leora away from the altar. He could feel the shift in the atmosphere, an unspoken warning echoing in his mind. Once they reached a safer distance, Kaelan turned to observe the altar, still pulsing with light and energy. Leora stood close, her anxiety evident as she glanced between him and the emanating vibrations. "Should we try to calm it down?" she suggested, her voice shaky but determined. Kaelan nodded thoughtfully. "We need to find out what the altar wants. There's a reason it reacted when we approached." He closed his eyes, concentrating, recalling the lessons Arion had shared about connecting with Aetheria's magic. "We must demonstrate respect," he stated, feeling the weight of responsibility firmly plant itself in his heart. "Okay, what do we do?" Leora asked, shifting her weight anxiously. "We approach with intention and sincerity," Kaelan said. "Let's try to reflect the energy within ourselves, show that we mean no harm." He took a deep breath and stepped forward again, beckoning Leora to follow. This time they moved in unison, palms open and facing the altar. As they neared, Kaelan focused on channeling calming energy, embodying the respect they had shown for the stories of Aetheria. But, just as they were about to reach the altar again, the ground shook violently, and the light from the altar dimmed to a dull glow. "Kaelan, what's happening?" Leora shouted, fear creeping into her voice as she struggled to maintain her footing. "I don't know, but we need to hold steady," he replied, determination flooding his tone as he gripped her hand to offer steadfastness against the chaos. In that moment of uncertainty, Kaelan's mind raced, aware that their actions could bring about unforeseen consequences. He felt the stirrings of doubt, but pushed them aside, focusing on their intention. This was not just a test of their resolve, it was a lesson in understanding the energies that surrounded them. As the intensity of the altar's magic fluctuated, Kaelan could almost hear the echoes of the warriors and tales of their past, those who had come before him and faced similar challenges. He realized that the journey of discovery was not just about personal glory, but also about maintaining balance and unity in Aetheria. "Let's try again," he urged, his voice steady. Together, with renewed focus, they advanced toward the altar, prepared to embrace whatever magic lay ahead, ready to confront the unknown, even when the path remained obscured in uncertainty. Kaelan and Leora approached the altar once more, their hands outstretched and their hearts aligned. The pulsing light grew dim but steady, as if waiting for the right moment to respond. Kaelan felt the energy around them. It hummed with potential, but needed direction. Focus on what you want to connect with, he whispered to Leora, trying to steady his own nerves. We're here to respect the magic, not control it. With their palms still facing the altar, they closed their eyes and took deep breaths together, synchronizing their movements. Kaelan concentrated on grounding himself, visualizing the energy that flowed through him as he sought to balance the power within the altar. As they continued to channel their intentions, a soft wind swirled around them, carrying whispers of the past and flickering fragments of memories. Kaelan felt the richness of Aetheria's history stretching out before him, rich with tales of triumph and loss. He imagined these stories intertwining with the very essence of the altar, connecting them to the forces that shaped this land. Kaelan, I can feel something, Leora breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. She remained firmly planted beside him, her presence a steady anchor. Kaelan opened his eyes, glancing at her as hope brightened his expression. Let it guide you, embrace it. Suddenly, the ground shook once more, the energy from the altar surging around them like a tempest. Kaelan, bombarded by unfamiliar sensations, struggled to keep his focus as the surrounding landscape transformed momentarily. The connections he had just envisioned flickered and blurred, replaced by flashes of images, warriors, once fierce, now silent. Don't let it overwhelm you, he urged Leora, feeling the pressure mount around them. She nodded, her determination strong as she focused on the warmth of the energy swirling around them. Kaelan took a deep breath and steadied himself, narrowing his vision on the altar. He recalled Arian's teachings about trusting the magic of Aetheria, and how it echoed the strength of its people. With a final push of will, he channeled his energy into the crystals embedded in the altar. An overwhelming light erupted, cascading through the clearing, illuminating the woodland. The swirling energies began to calm, accompanied by soft whispers that promised guidance and wisdom. As the intensity subsided, Kaelan felt a profound connection. They had unlocked a thread of Aetheria's heart, and it responded to their sincerity. A feeling of clarity washed over him, solidifying his understanding that the strength of Aetheria lay not just in its magic, but in the stories binding its people together. Together, we can harness this power, he said, looking at Leora with newfound confidence. We have to share this with our village. We must protect it. Leora beamed back at him, the bond between them strengthened by shared purpose. The swirling energies had given way to a steady pulse, a promise of the journey ahead, one filled with adventure and the commitment to their world's legacy. As the light from the altar faded, Kaelan felt a surge of determination within him. The energy that had wrapped around them now subsided into a warm glow, settling like a gentle embrace against the cool air of the forest. He took a moment to gather his thoughts, the weight of the experience grounding him in a way that felt transformative. Leora stood by his side, her face illuminated with awe. Did you feel that? She asked, her voice vibrant with excitement. We really connected with Aetheria. Kaelan nodded, still processing the significance of what had just occurred. We tapped into something powerful. This isn't just a relic of the past, it's a living part of Aetheria. He took a deep breath, looking around the tranquil clearing filled with the gentle sound of rustling leaves. We have to share what we found here. The village needs to know that Aetheria is alive and that its magic is still strong. Leora shared a smile, her eyes sparkling. And maybe they'll help us protect it. If they see that Aetheria cares for us, they'll realize how important it is to connect with the land. Exactly, Kaelan replied, feeling a new wave of resolve wash over him. But we should be careful. There are those in the village who may not understand what we've discovered, or they may doubt our intentions. He started walking back down the path they had come from, Leora by his side. We'll need to prepare how we present this information. It must be clear to everyone that our goal is unity between our village and Aetheria. As they made their way through the forest, they exchanged ideas on how to gather support from the villagers. Kaelan felt inspired, noting how each step reinforced his growing vision for the future, intertwining their individual destinies with the rich history of Aetheria. With each moment that passed, his vision became clearer, Aetheria was not merely a destination, but a living narrative, one they were now part of. Kaelan understood that navigating this world would require not just bravery, but the ability to weave together all the threads of their journey, connecting the past to every story awaiting them. As they emerged from the forest, Kaelan knew they were ready to embrace what lay ahead, not only as explorers, but as storytellers bound to protect and honor the legacy of Aetheria.